when you go into those businesses, there is some, apprehension about, actually, do you know what you're doing? How do I trust what you're doing? How do you know that have you ever used my software? That's a big thing. Have you ever used my software? And I have to kindly say, well, accounting hasn't changed for 2 millennia. The fundamental practices are the same, whether I was accounting, today or in the 70s or in the 1900s. The principles really do not change. The way we might go about it has, but fundamentally, when you're in different pieces of software, you're just trying to find where the things live and how they speak to each other. It's nothing more, substantial than that. And actually, that's the one thing that I don't worry about when I go into a new client, is actually what software they've got.
No, it's funny.
It's all the other stuff that you find along the way. Exactly.
So do clients just take that? Do they go, oh, okay, that's fair enough?
I think when they think about it, they go, yes. Oh, actually, I do get that. I do understand that actually we're talking about the same things, but just slightly differently. And, where you might find one thing, it might be hidden in a different place.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's debits and credits. They've got to balance.
Same fundamentals.
Exactly. There's nothing more to it. But I think back to your earlier point of, accountants were traditionally, looking back at the past, well, this is what's done. I actually think that is changing. And I think even internal finance departments within businesses need to make that transition where they actually need to understand the data they're producing and actually be able to tell the story. Something I talk about all the time for accounts departments, especially if they're going to board meetings or they're going to go to senior leadership meetings and discuss, how they've performed, is actually you have to tell a story. You have to bring the numbers to life. It's no good just saying, these are the numbers. Well, what do they mean? What are they telling us? And even things like the one thing I try and instill in my clients is that they produce a balance sheet as part of their management accounts packs, but they also then produce a ratios tab where they actually have graphics so that people that aren't necessarily number-based people can look at it and go, oh, that chart's going up. We need to do something about that. That shouldn't be going up. It should be going down.
It's the visuals, isn't it? And seeing it in different ways, I suppose.
And I think it's helping people. And I think when you do a technical job like us, we do sometimes go down the rabbit hole of the detail and go, oh my God, this is really exciting. This is really nerdy. We've got to go and do this.
But not everyone is
everyone's as excited as us. And so actually a lot of my job is about, how do I make this user-friendly? How do I sit in the shoes of someone that doesn't know what I know and be able to say, am I safe? Am I not safe? Can I invest? Can I not invest? Do I have to cut my cloth? Do I have to sell more? Do I have to raise my prices? And I think that's where the evolution of the accounts role is going to go, because you're right, the technology is improving.
It is, so much so. I mean, it basically does the job that an accountant used to do, doesn't it? You need an accountant to verify that, because obviously it's down to whoever's input the data. But in terms of pretty much producing a set of accounts, you're not a huge way off from doing that with a click of a button. So, what does an accountant offer going forwards? Well, it has to be, as you say, more of like a consultant business advice.
Yeah, it has to be more holistic.
Taking the business forward, looking at areas in the business that maybe aren't performing as well as they could be. I mean, sometimes we even, I see with my clients, something simple like they've got a finance team, but there's one member of staff who isn't quite, maybe not pulling their weight, but isn't working in the right way within the team. So it can sometimes just be helping them identify a problem and then work out how to solve it, which I guess is what you do when you go into these.
Yeah.
So it kind of steps on what you're doing. But even as an accountant, by having that regular communication with a client, you can definitely pick up on bits that aren't quite right within the team, within the business, whatever it may be, and just try and point them in the right direction with those.
Yeah.
Before it needs someone like you to go in and completely kind of
exactly. And I think it's really interesting because actually, and this is just completely anecdotal, there's no science behind what I'm about to say, but I generally find finance people kind of fall into two fields. They fall into the field of, I just want to do this processing and I am not interested in whether it's good, bad or ugly. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to hit my deadlines. I'm going to do what I'm told and I'm going to produce it and it's going to be accurate and that's it. You've got nothing more. Yeah. And then you have, I think, the next level up, which is oh, I'm curious, where does that go? What is that telling us? Is that right? Should I be concerned about that?
It's quite hard to find.
And that is really hard to find, because I think lots of people are attracted to accountancy because it is quite safe.
Yeah.
It is quite, you know, people that really like routine as well, because, you know, try changing an accounts person's daily rituals. You know, I think you've got better chance, you know, moving the Eiffel Tower.
You know, when you go into somewhere and you're looking at a finance team and you can see what's wrong.
Yeah.
And you've got to go, right, we've got to change, do this, whatever needs doing. I can imagine you get quite a lot of resistance.
Oh, sometimes, absolutely. And there are some phrases that do give me the ick.
Yeah.
That, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, oh my God.
Is that from like the bosses or the...
No, sometimes they can be, sometimes the characters, I guess, I love the most is like, look, I was doing accounts before you were born. And let me tell you, no one's ever said there's anything wrong with how I do stuff. And it's like, I actually haven't said there's anything wrong with how you do stuff. But maybe we can do things in a more efficient way.
Yeah.
And, you know...
I think people take that very personally.
Yes, because they see it as a criticism.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly. It's just there is a better way. And sometimes it just needs a third party sometimes to come in and see that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, a new approach to it. But I think that's the problem, isn't it? It's that personal criticism, or that it's taken as that.
But I also think that's where some of the disconnect comes from, with people not wanting to talk to their accountant, because if they've got that type that are almost immovable objects, and then you've got this energetic, creative, idea generating machine of an entrepreneur, they just kind of look at that and go, oh, Christ, you know.